Oh, the first semi-final, it should have been either about India or about New Zealand. It became more about the weather in Manchester, but not after India's bowlers really made New Zealand work hard on what is now day one of the first semi-final of the ICC Cricket World Cup 2019. Let's go at this again, shall we? We'll pick things up exactly where it left off in the 47th over, 211 for 5. And we're now set to look ahead to well, the resumption of the reserve day or day 2 of this India-New Zealand semi-final. Sunil Gavaskar was 69 when this semi-final started. He's now 70 as it continues to go on a day where Ross Taylor will resume with Tom Latham as India's bowlers shared the spoils when they came out to bowl yesterday. They'll have to finish that quota of 50 overs. We've not lost any play and we're hoping for good weather in Manchester, which we will head to in just a bit. On ESPN Cricinfo Matchday UK 2019, Daniel Vettori and Ajit Agarkar are here, and they've had a bit of a shower and changed their suits and are, I guess, looking forward to a full game, which I guess is in some ways a salvation to the situation that we're not going to have a shortened game. We're hoping to still see 100 overs, albeit over 2 days.
Yeah, looks good. Yeah. Looks good at the moment. The weather. Let's keep our fingers crossed that it stays that way, and it's a India get to bat the whole 50 overs. That will give both India and New Zealand equal chance. Then to obviously New Zealand have to bat those 23 balls, and hopefully they can get put up a total which challenges India.
Daniel, thoughts? How would New Zealand have slept last night?
I think they'll be okay. I think the main conversations would have been around the pitch and how they can replicate what India did. And India bowled so well and were so suffocating in their manner. And New Zealand would have said, well, our bowling attack has been pretty good throughout this tournament. Can we do the same sort of thing against the exceptional Indian batting lineup?
Yeah, right. Let's have a focus on that pitch report. And we do have a pitch report for the second day of this one-day international. Ian Smith and Sanjay Manjrekar are back on it. They're trying to see if it's changed in any shape or form as a result of the rain that we've had yesterday. Viewers on the Caribbean, let's go to Manchester. Viewers on ESPN Cricinfo, stay with us. We continue this conversation in the meantime. And would that sort of rain and moisture, etc., around the ground had any sort of impact on this surface, which we saw play in 2 ways, with the new ball, which was quick and then suddenly just slowed down drastically?
Yeah, maybe a little bit of sweating, but I think the covers are off since morning. With those covers, there is enough ventilation in that, so I wouldn't expect a lot of it. And it'll be interesting to see once New Zealand bowls how difficult this surface actually is, or whether New Zealand made it difficult or the Indian bowlers made it difficult for New Zealand. We'll find out that answer in due course. So quite intrigued actually to see how the pitch plays.
What happens for a pitch to play like this? For it to go through so quickly with the new ball and then just so suddenly stop as the game goes on?
I honestly think that you hear all the commentators, all the experts talk about it, and not a lot of people know. I think it's actually the wicket, whether it performs in certain weather conditions. The bowlers understand the wicket quickly and know how to bowl on it. I think that played a big part in it. I think the Kohli used his bowlers really well, understood that he only had 5, so he had to rotate them around. I think we need to sort of look at it like a test match. So we saw the day 1 wicket, and then day 2 is today. And normally it gets better in a test match. So I think New Zealand won't be hoping for that, but that's normally what happens. That it's slightly better the second day round.
And there wouldn't be any sort of rolling at this point overnight. It only happened, I'm guessing, mid-innings. That's the same protocol they'd follow?
Yeah, I'm sure that's been followed. I think I really intrigued to see how it plays, because it looked difficult when New Zealand batted.
Yes.
If it does, then New Zealand will be in with a chance.
Now we're not sure if it's going to play different because of the overnight, the extra day, or whether it would have played the same way if New Zealand would have batted yesterday. That's something we're going to find out in due time. But regardless, it's going to be a conversation that we will have once we go closer to the first ball today. Right, and as we heard from both Sanjay, who now is referring to Ravindra Jadeja as a quick spinner, amongst other colourful phrases he has used of late, does expect Mitchell Santner to not perhaps get as much assistance. But let's go back to Manchester and see if the weather's any good. I can see smiles and a fresh change of clothes for everyone except Graeme Swann. So Alexis Nunes, let's see what the weather's going to be like today.
Well, we're only a little bit fresh, rather, but we are a lot happier today because we did all go to sleep as we got home, except for Swanee. And he looks super fresh. He's back in his New Zealand colours. He made sure to go for a black and white tie. He wants to talk so badly, but I'm not giving him the mic just yet. Kartik, though, look at him. He had nothing else to wear, so he's going for the cash bad man look today, and I'm a fan of it. But let's talk about the weather. We've got our sunnies on. That means the sun is temporarily out. There is no chance of rain until about 8 p.m. tonight, but hopefully we'll be tucked away in our hotels in Birmingham by then. Gentlemen, so what are we expecting with these conditions from the pitch? Are you expecting it to play any differently than what we saw yesterday, Swanny?
I think this will be a good pitch today. It has sweated. It did have a lot of rain around yesterday, obviously, under the covers, but it's been glorious today. The covers are off first thing, so it's had 3 or 4 hours of sunshine. It'll be fine. And by the way, yes, black and white tie, but blue and orange sunglasses for India.
Oh.
Just a hedge
Blue,
all
blue and
bet.
orange, blue and
Just a
orange.
hedge all bets.
No,
I've
no.
got my England suit on as well. So yeah, there we go.
Hey, blue and orange didn't go well for India against England, so don't wear that.
Okay, he's taking it off because he still wants entry into England, so India, so he could get his paycheck. Kartik, what about you? You heard what the guys were talking about the pitch in studio. You heard what Swanny, his assessment of it. What is it for you? And who do you think is probably going to suit more today, India or New Zealand?
Hopefully for India, but it's not going to be an easy chase. If they get to around 250, just have a quick whack. And I know it's not going to be easy. Yes, Ross Taylor is unbeaten, but still, you still need a couple of deliveries to start going swing. You've got 23 deliveries left for the innings to finish. If they get to 250, I think it'll be a challenging total for India. This wicket has kept us all befuddled, so it'll be interesting how it goes in the first few overs because yesterday I saw the pitch. It looked different to me. Yes, it was tacky, but I thought there'll be something in it for the seamers, which it was. But Sanjay thought that it was going to be flat, and even I thought that it was going to be flat after the initial 5 overs, but it did do quite a bit. So it'll be interesting what it does today. I'm just waiting to watch those first 3-4 overs. Yes, it's going to be Bumrah. Yes, it's going to be Bhuvneshwar Kumar. We'll get an inkling of what is in store for BOULT and company.
All right, well, one of the different things today that probably has Swanny and Kartik a little more relaxed is that they're not getting mobbed as much because it is an interesting atmosphere here. We were wondering if a lot of the fans would be able to come back. I spoke to a couple of them yesterday and they said they were trying their best last minute to do so because, of course, they were not going to miss India. We know exactly how well followed they are in this one. But Swanny, what's your take on the atmosphere now?
Well, it's a midweek game, so a lot of people at work took the day off work to come and watch yesterday. It's not that easy for everybody just to take another day off. Of course, everyone's ticket is still valid today, but whether it'll be a full house, I think we can hear there's not exactly New Zealand fans everywhere compared to Indians. So, I mean, it's going to be raucous. It's going to be India. Actually, Kartik, what you said is dead right. The first few balls, very, very difficult to come out against the likes of Bumrah to actually tee off. When you've only got so few balls left in an innings, you think the first 6 or 7 are going to be, you have to have a bit of a look. So I think if they get to 250, New Zealand have done incredibly well. I don't think that'll be enough today. I think sleeping on it, letting the nerves die down in the semi-final will be perfect for India. I think the cards have actually turned in their favour.
Ooh, Swanny. Kartik, what do you think?
I think I completely agree with him because India, possibly they would have had a look, they would have had a rethink and a chat about what the wicket has done and how you want to go about it. And yes, 23 deliveries, but again, if one of them goes, so you don't even get to 250. So Ross Taylor, does he tee off? Does he take it till the end like MS Dhoni, the last possibly 10 deliveries? It'll be interesting, but for me, again, it's not as much as you said. I spoke to quite a few people who had started going to London yesterday as soon as the first showers came in. So, and when you go into the stadium, there are not too many people. I just hope that, and also most of the hospitalities, they were very clear. They said, look, we'll give you food today. Tomorrow you'll only get tea and coffee.
Well, tea and coffee is enough to get us inside. And the drums, though, have started. So, I have to keep this one on a leash here because he's just going to go off in his little dancing form. And I probably will join him. Maybe we'll get Kartik to join him, too, now that he's in his super cash look today. But I'm a massive fan of it, guys. Back to you.
Thank you very much. I'm making a note, Alexis and Swanny, of all the things Ram's once said, given how his predictions tend to play out. So the pitch is going to play really well. India are in control. The weather is glorious. So we'll keep a track of that. And Swanny, anyone else you want to put the kiss of death on, like Martin Guptill yesterday? Anyone else that you want to call is going to have a great day today? Go for it.
Yeah. Obviously, Rohit Sharma will be out first ball. Virat Kohli will be caught behind second ball. I mean, India all out for 10. How about that?
Go pick up your
Remember what I told
sunglasses,
you?
Swanny. I know
This
they're
man,
expensive. Go
don't
pick
trust
them up.
his
Make sure no
promises.
one's run over them. Thank you very much to Alexis Nunes, Murali, Kartik, as well as Graeme, Swann. We will get back to them in just a bit, but let's keep the conversation going. And I guess, again, it's sometimes we're making so much of this pitch. I wonder how much players actually playing think of it too. And do they think of it? Would the overnight batsmen, would the bowlers think of it too? All right, if this is how hard India made it for our batsmen, that's sort of something that we need to do as well.
Well, I think it would start with the coaching staff and the captain. They would start their plans, and would they be any different from what they brought into the game yesterday? And so are they going to try and change things? Would it be a different way of using Satner? Will they bring him in slightly earlier? How will they use Ferguson and BOULT? Because obviously Ferguson and BOULT, I think, hold the key for New Zealand. So do you go all out with them to try and get that top order? So I think rather than the pitch, it's how to utilise your bowlers on that pitch will be the key decisions that the coaching staff and Kane make together.
And as we look at the schedule forecast for the day, we expect rain to come in a little later. I saw a tweet from our editor-in-chief, Samit Balu's at Manchester for some reason, and says that both teams would keep the DLS power in mind as well as whatever the eventual score is. Would that normally
Yeah,
play
but
in
there's lots of
calculation?
time left in the day. I don't think either team would want to plan for that. If it eventually happens, you might think about it, but I don't think India would go into the game thinking this is what we need to get in 20 overs. And I can't imagine with the whole day to play that they can't get 50 overs in, although yesterday surprised us, the weather. So, yeah, I think it'll all depend on the conditions. I don't think New Zealand will end up getting enough runs, but if the conditions do act a bit tricky, or the pitch, then it becomes more of a contest. I don't think it's as straightforward a chase for India, even though the sun's out.
All right, well, we'll see if it is indeed the challenge that Graeme, Swann and Murali Kartik were saying, how tough it might be to just come in straight away and tee off, but that's what Ross Taylor needs to do when he comes in to bat in a little while. Time for a short break. We'll be back with more on ESPN Cricinfo Matchday UK 2019.
Brenda Sevag reminded his coach John Wright of the great baseballer Yogi Berra's quote, "How can you think and hit at the same time?" Sevag's four-word philosophy of see ball, hit ball was best seen at the 2011 World Cup. In the first game, he hit the very first ball he faced for a 4. In the second, boom, first ball 4 again. The third, the fourth. For 5 games in a row, he promptly dispatched the first balls for boundaries. He could have gone on had it not been for an injury.
Welcome back to ESPN Cricinfo Matchday UK 2019. We're building up to this oddly phrased day 2 now of the first semi-final of this ICC Cricket World Cup, which will pick off exactly where it left off in Manchester when the rain came down. Much better weather, which means we will hopefully get to see a full 50 overs from India, or how much ever long it takes for their innings to go on. And it tends to go on in moods depending on how Rohit Sharma feels like batting. The big challenge for him will be facing the threat of Trent Boult.
This is Rohit Sharma's World Cup. With 647 runs from 8 matches, he has topped the run charts, overshadowed the great Kohli, and been a key behind India's success. In Manchester, however, New Zealand know whom they can rely upon to stop Rohit's juggernaut, and he may just get them a foothold in the final. In 12 innings, the left-arm pacer has dismissed the India opener 4 times. What will be on Rohit's mind, however, is that in even the warm-up game against New Zealand in May, he was strapped in front for 2 by a Boult in swinger. But his form now has given him a happy headache.
Personally, I was disappointed because after 100, I've said it many times, you can't, bowlers can rarely get you out. It is your mistake that can cost you your wicket at that point. So I was disappointed with that. The last 300s that I got, I couldn't go on to bat as deep as I could.
Tuesday's battles are many and the stakes are high. The result may very well come down to Rohit Sharma versus Trent Boult.
Now we've pipped that up as the key battle because Rohit Sharma's wicket seems to be the wicket to take now in a tournament where Virat Kohli has had to unusually play or uncharacteristically play second fiddle. What sort of approach do New Zealand have? Let's go back to Manchester. Kartik is there, so too Graeme, Swann with Alexis Nunes. And Alexis, I wonder if you can get thoughts from both Kartik and Swanny on just the sort of approach New Zealand will have to take. Will it be all-out pace? Dan Vettori mentioning that perhaps the use of Mitchell Santner could come in earlier than expected, looking at how Ravindra Jadeja bowl. I'm sure Kartik and Swanny both have plenty of thoughts on that.
They do have plenty of thoughts indeed, because they were just chatting down both my ears a while ago about some ball, and they were talking about each other's careers and exactly what they would do if they were approaching this game in
Both
this
periods
kind of
are the
condition.
same.
Both periods are the same. You know, they love it. They love it. So we're going to get to that. Swanny, you just heard the question. What's your take on it, and just the chips of what you were chatting about with Kartik?
I think New Zealand have to play to their strengths. Their strengths are Lockie Ferguson, who's bowled very fast and put it in good areas. Sanders a decent bowler, but he doesn't really turn it that much. I don't think New Zealand can rely on him. He is someone who's going to stem the flow of the runs if they're going, but they've got to try and take wickets, and they take wickets up front. Trent Boult, I think it will swing today because it was wet yesterday, because it's a bit humid today. I mean, the Kookaburra ball does next to nothing, but what little swing there will be, Trent Boult will find it. So if they can pick up wickets early on, take 2 or 3 in the first 15 overs, they're in with a massive shout in this game. But don't rely on the spinner to get 5 wickets, because he's not going to do that.
Well, yesterday we were talking lightly if we would see Virat Kohli warm up his arm, you know, and try a little bowl. But now, what do you think about Kane Williamson? Do you think he will have a bit of a bowl?
Well, he might do. I mean, if he can keep his arm straight, he might do. But, you know, Kane's a decent bowler for the odd over here or there. But, yeah, you know, even he would admit that he's not consistent enough to trouble top-class batsmen. He's a great bowler if you're trying to steal a couple of overs, you take a wicket and you think, right, there's a left-hander in, maybe we can steal an over here, you might pick up a wicket. But like I said before, stick to what you're good at. Trent Boult, Lockie Ferguson. So, Lockie, you run up and bowl as quick as you can. Matt Henry, you know, swing the ball, pitch up, but bowl fast, and let's see what happens.
All right, Kartik, what about you? Because this India batting order, I mean, we've been talking about them so much, especially the openers who have absolutely been on fire, or a certain Rohit Sharma who is just chasing down historical numbers as you speak. So how do you think New Zealand should attack them? All-out pace, and what are you expecting from the Indian batsmen?
It has to be, because I completely believe that somebody like a Rohit Sharma or a Rahul are going to be troubled more by Trent Boult. Somebody like Trent Boult, if he can get the ball to shape in. Rohit plays fast bowling really well. If you're trying to bounce him out, I don't think that's going to work. And I completely agree with Swanny. Somebody like a Mitchell Santner is not a wicket taker. It could be his day. You never know. It could be his day where he pitches the ball, because in Edgbaston against Pakistan, he had conditions completely for him. All he had to do was put it up there and the ball was spinning. He got what? No wickets at all? No wickets at all. So. And again, you've got Indian batsmen. When you bowl to Indian batsmen, you see the likes of Shadab Khan, Adam Zampa change, because you're bowling to the Indian batsmen. So that is completely different. That pressure is also there. So for me, it's out and out pace, absolutely right. Lockie Ferguson, different. Trent Boult, different. If you can rattle the top 3, then you are into Rishabh Pant, who's going to has to play in a different way then.
So you're still not too convinced with the Indian middle order?
I'm still not, because they've not been exposed. They've been playing with the cushion of the runs from the top order.
Yes.
Every time the middle order has gone in, there have been enough runs. So if you can rattle those top 3, especially Rohit and Virat Kohli, it's a big dent into the Indian attack.
All right, there you have it, guys. So we're probably going to go and head inside as we get this day 2 of the first semi-final, and then we'll see you at the end when it's all said and done, and we will finally know who is in the final of this year's World Cup.
Well, that's a very convenient way of telling us you're not going to be part of the 10-minute swap of innings, Alexis, because that's not enough time for the review to get down from your cozy cushions. Thanks very much, Alexis Nunes, Graeme, Swann, Murali, Kartik. We will get back to them at the end of this game. It is a 10-minute swap of innings, just to inform all our viewers today. It will not be a traditional or a customary 30-minute interval, which is, I guess, making sense. And a lot of common sense should come into the game. Now, you were wondering whether there'd be some sort of scheduled lunch break at that time. We can now confirm that it's just 10 minutes between innings, and then the game goes on uninterrupted, weather permitting.
Yeah, and we've seen in the past where that common sense hasn't prevailed with timings, lunch breaks, and then games don't finish. So I think this is perfect. A 10-minute break, and then India want to get straight back into it. They won't want a 40-minute break after with what they've got ahead of them. And I think New Zealand the same. They want to see how they bowl on this wicket quickly, and they just want to get on with the game. I think both teams just want to get out there and play. All
right. What they do have now is Jasprit Bumrah and Bhuvaneshwar Kumar to see off these 23 balls, and they do have Ross Taylor. There is Tom Latham. There is Mitchell Santner. So they're not done with their batting just yet. How hard or easy will it be? Will we see the ball come onto the bat nicely for 3 overs to perhaps give India some good thoughts going into bat? Time for our viewers in the Caribbean to move to live action. Viewers on ESPN Cricinfo, stay with us. We continue chat on ESPN Cricinfo Matchday UK 2019. Right, do stay with us now, and we will be with you till the first ball is indeed bowled. And it's not just Alexis, Swann and Kartik in Manchester, or Dan, Ajit and myself. Anubhav is our most trusted lieutenant on the world of social media, and he's had the privilege of having 2 cracks at whatever's happening courtesy this semi-final. Anubhav, I hope you've got something good for us.
Exactly, and that's exactly the silver lining that we saw in yesterday's clouds, the fact that we have not one but 2 social corners for the same game. Yes, you're very welcome. We'll commence proceedings with Shashi Tharoor, who's comparing the British reign to the Brexit process, saying that both go on perpetually, and every time you think the sun might just break through, the mess starts all over again. How on earth did the English invent a game that requires 8 hours of sunshine a day? And speaking of starting again, we've got Gaurav Kalra, who says on day 2, India will want to dismiss the remaining Kiwi batsmen quickly, see off the new ball without much damage, and take the lead by the end of play.
Very clever. Test match reference for grand old man of broadcasting.
Yeah, I mean, he comes from a time when test matches began. So.
Yes, timeless tests. He's a timeless man himself. Carry on.
Absolutely. Next up, we have Sanjay Manjrekar, who provides his assessment of the situation, saying New Zealand have read this pitch as excruciatingly slow and reckon that the chasing team may find it even more difficult. So just being practical and not aiming too high. Now, there aren't too many people who typically echo Sanjay's sentiments, but in this instance, Brendan McCullum does. He says around 250 would never be enough in a bilateral series between these 2 teams on this surface, but in a World Cup crunch encounter in a semi-final, it may just be. Next, we have Yuvraj Singh, another swashbuckling batsman, who is shedding some light on Kane Williamson's technique and his bottom hand grip, saying relaxed palm, holding the bat in 2 fingers and thumb, allows him to play the ball late, great technique. Now, allows him to play the ball late, that's all fine and dandy, but the real question is, does it allow him to pass the bottle cap challenge just the same way Yuvraj Singh passed it? And we'll...
What's that, though? For your information, come on India, but that's like FI, so the FII is... He's mentioned Kane Williamson and praised him, and then said, but for your information, come on India, Bumrah's a treat to watch. So he's praised Williamson and then just moved the attention completely to Bumrah. That's a very detailed tweet from you.
He's enjoying retirement.
Yeah, you can tell, can't you? Oh, that's a lot put into one tweet. Well done, UV. Carry on.
So a shameless plug from Yuvraj. And we'll conclude proceedings with Michael Vaughan, much to Ronak's delight, who says, Lucas popped in. Did you think the Aussies were going to be here? Big Merv. He was pictured here with Merv Hughes yesterday at Old Trafford, taking a dig at the Aussies for having lost to South Africa, which meant that they play in the second semi-final at Edgbaston in Birmingham, as opposed to having played in the first one at Old Trafford, Manchester.
I would be heartbroken if England don't make the final.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll have nothing from
Merv Hughes might tweet that back, actually.
Yeah, Merv Hughes doesn't strike me as a man
tomorrow
who spends
evening.
too much time on Twitter. Anubhav, thank you so much. Always a pleasure. And you are going to be back with us tomorrow. It's 3 days of semi-final cricket, courtesy this 2-day game now. And England-Australia will be watching with one eye, if not both, on how India go about their chase. And remember, it's not just while India and New Zealand that battle it out in Manchester. We will join ESPN's Isha Acton and Veronica Jose, the winner of ESPN Cricinfo's Visit Britain Biggest Fan Challenge, not too far away in London, as they visit the River Thames and the Prime Meridian, among other things.
Hi guys, it's me, Isha Acton. I travel for the culture, and what better way to see the culture of London than on the MBNA Thames Clipper? If you are coming to watch India and you want to get directly to the Oval, make sure you go on the MBNA Thames Clipper, which will bring you right there. Now we're in Greenwich, so there's only one place we need to be heading. Let's go see the stars. There's Bombay. Oh, that. Oh my God. I can't believe I'm from England and this is the first time I've seen the Meridian Line ever. And right now, you're standing in the Eastern Hemisphere, I'm standing in the Western Hemisphere. Mind-blowing stuff. Can't wait to see more. Come on. We're up at the O2 and Veronica and I are ready for a big climb.
My body weight should be satisfied this. Now this is our reward, the breathtaking view. Just look at that.
Built inside this quaint little house in East London is a tribute to the English art and crafts designer of the 19th century. Morris in fact resided in this building from 1848 to 1856. And in 2013, the William Morris Gallery won a national prize for Britain's Museum of the Year. We're at Monmouth Kitchen, and little fun fact about this kitchen. So in 1870s, apparently Vincent van Gogh, he worked as an art dealer just steps away from this very kitchen. Apparently they have a surprise in store for us, so I'm super excited to just get in. So let's go get stuck in.
Cheers. Cheers to your birthday.
I travel for the culture, and today I had a fantastic insight into the art scene in London. I'm hoping we continue this journey, so you guys make sure that you stay tuned to all the action. Until next time, it's a bye from me.
Many thanks to Isha Acton, and London's the place to be, Britain's the place to be. Just get there as soon as you can, and you might find Ajit Agarkar, who's a regular visitor, or Dan Vettori, who's considered
Aren't you going to be
royalty
there
in
next
Britain.
month for a month?
No, I'm not. Yes, I don't like to announce my travel plans so well in advance. You know how hard it is to deal with this kind of unrestricted fame. Anyway, but if you are a sports fan like me and a quiz buff, this is your chance to battle the biggest sports fans in the country. Make a team with your office buddy and participate in the LinkedIn ESPN Office Sports Quiz. Play now at sportsquiz.espn.in and stand a chance to watch the English League live. Final comments from Dan Vettori and Ajit Agarkar. Now, Dan, how much is this score going to play in the minds? Are these 3.5 overs so crucial where New Zealand tell themselves, if we can get 40, that could very well decide the game?
Well, I think that, and coupled with how they start with the ball, I think those two things together could dictate the game in a lot of ways, because they can finish on a high, and then BOULT and Henry come out and attack with that new ball. So I think you put together the 4 overs of the batting and the 10 overs of the bowling, and that could go a long way to seeing what happens in this game.
We've seen a lot of slow balls from Bhuvneshwar Kumar, mixed from Jasprit Bumrah. Are you thinking about what you want to do in these last few overs if you're Bhuvi and Bumrah?
Yeah, I think just keep it simple, bowl to your strength. There's only, over and a half for one of them and a couple of overs for the other, and they've been very good. So they'd want to keep New Zealand to under 240 if they can. And that will then put that much more pressure on the New Zealand bowling and make life a little bit easier for India.
Okay, assuming that now that the sun is out, we shouldn't have too many delays, but Ajit and Dan are going nowhere. They'll be glued onto that chair, and they'll be back for that quick change of innings. Many thanks to Dan and Ajit. We'll get thoughts from them after New Zealand's innings has finally come to a close. It's the longest innings in World Cup history. It'll finally end in 3.5 overs, and we'll pick up the conversation then on ESPN Cricinfo Matchday UK 2019 for what will be a 10-minute innings swap intermission for this first semi-final.